Hello and welcome to Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. Guys, today I'm going to take advantage of the nice weather and I'm going to try to accomplish a couple of things. The first one being I want to not plant, I'm going to place my seascape strawberries in this tree trellis that I have here. And I've had them inside and they're getting quite leggy as opposed to growing in a more round fashion. And that is because I guess it was trying to reach for sunlight. So today's weather is supposed to be in the 50s. And I think tonight the temperatures may drop to about 32, but going forward, the high temps are in the 60s, and 1 or 2 days is going to be 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and the lowest at night will be in the 40s or 50s. So I think they've had enough time in the house. When I received them, they were bare root. And as you can see now, they've all developed foliage. And I'm going to go on and place them here in this tree trellis. And I'm going to start from the bottom and just slip them in there. There's one more that I need to add to. I forgot about that pot. But of course, I received over 50 strawberries. So I've got plenty to continue potting up and to put out into the garden. Come on. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. There it is. So far I've got 3 there, 1 fell out. I'll pick it up. Okay, they've all been potted up. And those pots that you see, these are just recycled materials from Lowe's where they put the recycled pots. And some of them were pots that um, I've purchased plants in and just kept on hand for future use. And as you can see, they fit those little hooks perfectly. And these seascape strawberries were gifted to me by the Carolina gardener. So I'm really grateful for that, and I'm hoping that this will be such a beautiful display of strawberries once we get more sunlight and they bush out just a little bit more. And I don't know, guys, if you could hear, but the birds are going crazy. But I am going to water these in because we're not expecting rain for the next several days. So I'm just going to give it a good watering. Okay, guys, that should do it. On to my next project. So, guys, I want to share with you the potatoes that I'm going to be growing this season. And I'll be growing the red Norlands. And these were purchased from the Tractor Supply. I'm also going to be growing the russet narcota, and these were $5.99 a bag. And the other is the Kennebec. And I was watching Hands in the Dirt the other day, and he suggested cutting the potatoes and making sure that there are at least 2 eyes. And what I'm going to do now is prepare my potatoes by cutting them um, and allowing them to callus over, meaning the white fleshy part will turn a little brown. And then at that point, I can go on and plant them in the ground. So I'm going to take you down and show you how I will be cutting my potatoes today. Okay, so I've counted 16 seed potatoes, and some of them are quite small, like this one. And when they're small like this, I'm going to keep them whole. This is another sort of small one, and another small one here. But I have a few that are pretty large, like this one. And as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 eyes on it. This one I'm going to cut in half, and I'm thinking I'm going to cut it about right here. So when I plant it, I'm going to plant it down like this with the eyes up. And on this one, since there was an eye here, I'm still going to plant it down so that this part will be facing into the soil. So I'm just going to lay these on this tray to allow them to callus over. This is another one that has 1, 2, 3 eyes. And so I'm going to cut it in half as well. Here's another large one that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, several. So I'm going to cut it in half as well. And I'm going to do this with the rest of the potatoes, and I'll come back and share that with you. So here are the potatoes that I'm going to allow to callus over, that I have simply cut in half. And here are 5 that were a little small that I've decided not to cut. So I'm just going to place these back into the bag until I'm ready to plant. And these I'm going to let sit out to callus over. And I have been able to multiply the number of potato plants by cutting them in half, and hopefully, as Hands in the Dirt stated, that there will be a higher yield. The reason why I didn't cut them any smaller, like for example, this one was a pretty big potato, and I only cut it in half. I just wanted to make sure that my potatoes had enough energy to be able to produce potatoes. And that's also the reason why I'm not cutting these little smaller ones, because this should be large enough for them to really produce well. So I am going to go through the other bags of potatoes, the russet narcotas, and also the red Norlands, and do the same thing in terms of looking at their size and then cutting them for a higher yield. Okay, guys, another thing I have to do is to go out into the garden, and I would like to go on and plant some Swiss chard seeds, as well as some turnip green seeds today, because of course I'm in growing zone 7A, and this is a good time now to get started with planting seeds for cool season vegetables in the garden. Okay, so let's just keep going. Guys, before I plant my seeds for Swiss chard and turnips, I want to grab some of this chicken manure. I have my container here. This is an old coffee container. And I'm going to add this to the raised beds. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm in front of the bed, and I'm just going to sprinkle the chicken manure. You don't need a whole lot because a little bit goes a long way. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to get my rake and rake this in, and I'll be right back with you. So what I'm going to be planting is the Swiss chard, the ruby red, the Swiss chard large rib dark green, and the mixed colors. And so what I've done is I've just mixed all of my seeds into this bowl, and I've gone on and I'm using the Mel Bartholomew square foot gardening. This is a 3-foot bed. It's 3 feet by 8 feet. And so I have gone on and made my 1-foot squares, and I will be placing 4 seeds in each one of these 4-foot cells. And so what I'm simply going to do is start here in this middle cell here. I'm going to use this stick to make a hole here, another one here, here, and here, and just put a seed in each of the holes. And then do the same here. This one will only get 3 because it's on the corner. And I'm going to do that for this entire bed, and I'll come back with you. In this bed, I'm going to be planting my purple top turnips, and I've completed the Swiss chard in that bed right there. I've made 5 rows inside of this bed, which is also 3 feet by 8 feet. And I've done the first 3 rows here in the front, and now I'm going to do these last 2 rows. And I can always thin them out as they grow. I've also added chicken manure as well to this bed. Okay, and there you have it, guys. I have planted seeds for Swiss chard and purple top turnips in the market garden. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.